Dear citizens of the Republic of the Gambia, I am your brother Isa Bokar C, and we are going to begin our special session today. And the theme is as follows: Gambian immigrants in Germany, France, Italy, and the United States of America feel vulnerable and are blaming their diplomats for issuing emergency passports while denying them the chance to fight their cases with the help of pro bono or paid attorneys we call lawyers back home. Well, reports indicate that as we speak, there are 80 Gambians currently in West Texas waiting to be deported, whereas more arrests are on the way. Indeed, America's case is not an isolated one. The same situation is prevailing in Europe. Now, to that effect, that's why it is important for us to delve into this biting issue. Well, as we speak, reports have indicated that an estimated number of 80 Gambians are detained in West Texas and will soon be deported to Banjul. Well, extremely concerned Gambians, together with their attorneys or legal advisors, including interpreters, are calling from all over the place, asking for advice from anybody they believe can give them advice. Well, principal on their list of concerns is what is, I'm going to, underpin as follows, which is they want to know what way or what legal way should they take to avoid what they call an embarrassment and a rude shock from a cultural and economic perspective. Well, interestingly though, these Gambians are not blaming the US government or other governments in Europe to a certain extent. And they are doing so from an honest and objective standpoint. What they say is that the first duty or priority of the US government or other governments in Europe, where you have large numbers of Gambian immigrants, most of whom are illegal, the first priority of these governments is to protect US citizens or citizens in their respective countries and or US interests or the interests of their respective countries, home and abroad. Some of them are saying it will definitely be misplaced anger for them to feel angry against ICE in the US, which is the immigration branch responsible of deportation and other matters pertaining to who is an illegal immigrant in this country or otherwise. The same goes to other countries in Europe. Now, the question is, where do they place the blame, or who are they targeting their frustration with? All those who contacted me and others said that they are blaming the Gambian embassy in Washington, D.C. to begin with, and other diplomats of the Gambia in the West. After pressing them to know why take that position against their own diplomatic missions, well, which we can prove because some of them would agree to be recorded. So if the diplomats posted abroad want to deny, or those who hired and sent them abroad want to deny, we can prove it. Well, these people made it categorically clear that they have been told by those who arrested and detained them, of course, not only in the US, but in other parts of the West where Gambians are arrested and detained, those who arrest and detain them said that their detention was facilitated by Gambian embassy staff here in America or other parts, after identifying them and issuing them emergency passports. In fact, there is a case where a person was arrested after his papers were submitted, or his name was submitted, sorry, at the Gambian mission. The papers sent home according to the report we received or the findings we did. And then it was approved and documents were issued to identify him as a Gambian from Banjul. And then that is how the embassy was able to submit his papers. And this was back in January. But the person was arrested this week. Now, the other part of it is that a Gambian US citizen in Maryland, United States of America, was made to understand that the embassy staff have a list of Gambians with them and ready for deportation. She went further to investigate the veracity of the information. Well, she called the embassy based on what we were told during findings, and the person we spoke to is alive and is ready to come out and testify to that effect. When she called the embassy in Washington to inquire about one Mohammed Njai, which was more or less investigations combined with a bait. It was, authenticated that indeed Mohammed, who was a green card holder or a work authorization holder, likewise was about to start the process of becoming a citizen, was the one whose papers or whose name was identified back in January. The process was completed between Washington and Banjul, the embassy and Banjul, and then finally he was picked up. So definitely there is nothing that anyone can blame the US authorities for, because they are following the procedure. Now, the question lies on why are the embassy staff doing that without taking a phone and call the people's concerned and find out whether they could be able to defend themselves legally, or at least give them a warning so that they can prepare themselves for a home return. Well, that is one side of it. Well, when she called the embassy, like I said, to inquire about one Mohammed Njai, it was confirmed, according to the person I spoke to who called me. I never investigated this. I was called and asked to make a video on it or call some people to see how best their story can be exposed. Wait for the second video, please.